Hello and welcome to, and people can see me live doing the volume here, so the magic is lost. This is how we do it on the screen. Hello and welcome to The Screen, a podcast
Hi.
about TV that isn't really a pod, but whatever. We're talking Andor, talking Andor. If this podcast were an episode of Andor, it would be the great Nobody's Listening. This is a podcast for four people, and that's my goal
Yes,
here. That's the goal.
we have
And there's
exactly
there's a
six
freedom to that.
views.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
said
checked
when
on
I
the last
started the
episode.
channel, I said when I did the channel, I want like weird stuff where we can do like 10 view episodes, and that's what
And
this is.
I'm
It's
glad.
good.
I'm glad to be a part of this micro network.
Although it will be funny when like one of these blows up one day, because if it's one where I'm legit on, I'll be tortured by that. I like. um, so Andor, you're gonna lead the show, Laura. But
Hi. Hi.
before that, what was my thing? I had something I wanted to say. Psychedelic spiritualism. That is what I'm describing Andor as. That's my term for this show.
Okay.
Because folks, it's a show about me. And that's all great television is if it's a show about you. Of course, it's about many people, but
Yeah, it's
that
about
that
me
is what
too.
I love when you can like get that kind of psycho experience of seeing your life in a show. And Andor is just insanely good right now and applicable to my current little meltdown mode I'm in. So it's
Yeah,
just amazing.
I know I hear exactly where you're coming from on both a funny and a more serious note because briefly before we get into the things that I really wanted to talk about with this uh the first six, so spoilers in effect for the six episodes of Andor that are available to watch, and obviously for preceding Star Wars media, mostly just Rogue One and the stuff everyone knows. But so to get that early. Anyway, um, in the first scene of season two, when Cassian is basically seducing
Oh, yeah.
this imperial tech into defecting. Well, she's already made the decision to
Yeah,
defect,
she's
but
already defected, it seems, in that.
yes, but a line that just, and I may even have a bit of a moment just saying it, um, relating to my own personal circumstances as someone who's transitioning. The line, "You're coming home to yourself." That's what he tells her when he says that's what it will feel like when you accept that you're part of this rebellion, that the empire cannot win. And I heard that, and I mean it means a lot of things, and you can relate it to a lot of current um political or social structures. It had that very deep personal meaning for me, and that's all. I'm not going to really get
Yeah, no,
any
I
further
hear
into
you
it
with it.
beyond that, but
It's
I
such a
felt like I
good
had to
moment.
say it. Yeah.
There have
Anyway,
been a few of those dialogue moments. The dialogue in the show is so good. Like it's beyond anywhere most
yeah, no,
media is.
when Gilroy says he thinks it's the best work he's ever done,
He's counting Michael Clayton
he
in there, and
may
he's right.
he may be right. And yeah, you and I are both huge
Oh,
Michael
Clayton's
Clayton
amazing.
heads. Like it's one of my favorite movies, full stop, just
It's just
ever.
so cool that you can have something as poignant as like that scene in that moment, and then you can get Krennic being a sassy little bitch, and both of those things can exist in the
Yeah,
same show. I love it.
Or just immediately following that in the same scene, you can have the slapstick comedy of Cassian trying to get the Thai Avenger
Yeah.
prototype out of the fucking test facility. But we're the main stuff we wanted to hit on is we wanted to go back to first to a thing that Mike described when we first began this conversation.
Yeah, I cooked here.
And you really did. You really fucking did. Because you said it was storytelling in negative space because of how much ground is going to be covered by the show that we are not necessarily going to see on screen. And I had no idea how right you were going to be. And I
Neither
don't
did
think you
I.
did.
I was basing it off of Gilroy's interviews, and I knew he'd be doing stuff like this, and I knew every episode we would pick up somewhere
Yes,
new and start new. But what I didn't expect is the mystery box element in these episodes. And I don't like
to some
that term.
extent.
I don't like that term, by the way, because it's got negative connotation from stupid people. But
Yeah,
it's every fourth, like episode four, episode seven, I'm sure, episode one,
yeah,
every first episode, we're kind of in this mystery of what the hell is going on, and we have to figure it
yeah.
out. None better than like the Cyril stuff in episode four, where
Oh my
if
God.
you're
Yeah.
smart enough, yeah, like if you're paying attention, you know he's not playing it straight. And Kyle Solar, I think it's pronounced Solar, is so
It is.
good at
Yeah, yeah.
acting badly in those
Yeah.
scenes, but also
He's
well,
he's a he's brilliantly playing a man who is doing a
doing the best of his bad
subpar
abilities.
camouflage. Yes,
I'm gonna say the best of
because
bad
yeah,
abilities. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Without getting too deep into the weeds of it, he is part of an imperial plot to destabilize and likely ultimately destroy
yeah,
the
that's where it's
planet of
going.
Gorman, which is mentioned in the first season because there's a trade conflict that results in imperial blockade that has to be resolved. All that stuff happens on screen. We really only know about it because of Mon Mothma having one seemingly barely watched speech in the Imperial Senate saying this would be a boot on the throat of all Gormans.
Yeah, nice
And
accent.
thank you. Um,
Also, Saw Gerrera shits on him in his big
Yes, he
speech
does.
too.
He shits on the Gorman front, who we
Um,
finally see for the first time in run the second run of episodes, but is a
or in Star
mystery
Wars
as
proper, by the way, because there is some like
sorry.
nerd Star Wars Gorman stuff, but this is all pretty unexplored. Uh,
Yeah, I think it
it's
is
hard for me to keep the canon straight on stuff because there
it.
was some legend stuff, but we're at the point now where it's all unexplored. We just know there's
Yeah,
going to be a massacre. But now that
yes,
they've already showed that there was a massacre of 500
yeah,
people in the past, it sounds
yeah,
like we're going Alderaan mode pretty soon, or at least Jedha mode.
something like that. Yeah. So what I wanted to first get at to give it. Oh wait, no, sorry. The negative space thing is just to wrap that thread up. Um, everything seems imbalanced, and then you spend the run of episodes figuring out a few things that you didn't know right away, and all the while, as you're caught up in the present tense threads of what's happening, you're realizing, oh, the nightmare that Bix is having. Okay, we don't know. We have a basic idea of what it's about. Then we'll find out what it's exactly about. And we're never worried that we're not going to figure it out because it's such confident storytelling. That's
Yeah,
what's so
that's the nice thing about it is you know they
both good
will.
about it.
do it. I mean, I do always have my anxiety watching a show. Like, are they gonna do this? Like my Westworld PTSD in some ways.
Oh,
Which
oh God,
oh, I
no.
loved season one and two of
Oh.
that show. But yeah, Gilroy's not whatever his name, Jonah.
John,
Yeah, Jonah's good, but
yeah,
whatever. I'm not This isn't the crap
yeah.
on Jonah Nolan hour.
No, no,
Um,
no.
but yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. The negative space storytelling is so good, and like from a business perspective, if you wanted to tell good Star Wars stories, first of all, take a shot because I'm going to mention Lost, but it is very close to Lost type of innovative storytelling. Like I think it's actually groundbreaking, like they were 20 years ago. But if you want to tell Star Wars stories or big IP stories going forward, this is
Hmm.
how you do it because now, my God, the amount of annoying Luthen Rael comic book spin-offs, which I do not trust anyone else to write Luthen specifically, my favorite character. But the
Wait, are
amount
they
of
really doing
no,
that?
they're not, but if they
Oh,
wanted
thank
to.
God.
But if they wanted to, they could. And like
Okay,
if you actually got talented people, like you could make good stuff in theory. I know they have a whole canon of what happens in between the
sure.
episodes. Like this stuff isn't random. They've
No, yeah,
planned
they've
it out
gamed it
and now
all
it's
out.
just figuring out. But like if you wanted to run a big IP, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
Like, and
you're
that
right.
was a big problem in the sequels is there wasn't any negative space. Like there was no
Nope.
detail in between there. No, and that's the criticism of Ryan Johnson, who I like Last Jedi, but that's the criticism is instead of filling that out, he did his own thing, and then JJ did the same thing. Again, Star Wars isn't
Yeah,
really relevant to this show, in my opinion. This show isn't
not
a
really.
Star Wars
No,
show, so I'm not
it's a
here to talk
yeah,
about the sequels. But if you wanted to make
yeah,
a good product, this is how to
the,
do it. And you could do it for a kid show, you could do it for whatever.
yeah. No,
This is a storytelling
yeah.
revolution in some ways. That's all I've got to say.
I think you're right. I think it's almost like the platonic ideal of what maybe the Netflix Marvel shows would have done if they'd been fully allowed to steer their own plane, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there, and that's going into
Ooh,
eight
wait.
thousand stupid IP cans of worms.
Before you transition us to point
Yep.
two, one more. Halt and Catch Fire. The late seasons tell the story like this, and that's when the show really sings.
Oh, okay.
I would say this. I've compared it now to Lost, a little bit of Halt too, where jumping time and now figuring out what happened in between.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
it's been done, but I just think
Gotcha.
this isn't new, but I do think it's kind of
Yeah. Right.
revolutionarily great. Anyway, I love it.
It's
Go on.
it's it is a bit for like pop storytelling, I guess you could say, but not even really because there are comics that do this really well. It all depends on who's guiding the plane. In this case, we have Tony Gilroy guiding the plane. That's what's so great about it. Um, so with the first three episodes of this second season, we got a fairly action-packed version of the show, which you are almost like, is this them worrying that they're going to lose the Mandalorian crowd, which they never had to begin with? And
I want to pause you right
probably
in
it can't
here.
be that.
Yeah, can I just
Okay,
pause
good.
you in here?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Just because I have Gilroy quotes for it.
Okay.
Um, he did mention, especially that opening scene. His whole point of the opening was to purposely make it slow and have the big emotional speech, and like quietness. And then, as an FU to all the critics who said it was too slow, to just start out of the gate with action. So there was
Yes.
a bit of that to build off what you're saying.
Yeah,
Anyway, go on.
which it does. And there that pace doesn't really let like it's not that it's an episode a sequence of episodes is full of set pieces. It's more, but there are quite a few of them. which is not necessarily, you couldn't necessarily say that of the first season and the first quartet of Andor triplets, episode triplets. Like you would have like at least one of the triplets is relatively sedate by comparison. And this one, it just keeps going. Like you go from Cassian stealing the ship to he's supposed to drop it off. The pilot isn't there, gets rounded up by the most hilarious group of revolutionary misfits that has been depicted in
The
recent
online left.
memory. It
He
really
got
is.
he
Oh,
got
God.
picked up by Chapo FYM Patreons. Or yeah.
The fucking Grey Wolves.
Yep.
The Maya Pay Brigade are the Grey
Once Matt
Wolves.
Christman.
Oh my,
Maya Pay was Matt Christman, and
oh
once
my
it went down, it just became a lot of yelling at each other.
God. Oh,
Don't ask which one's Virgil, Texas.
yeah, no, we're not going there.
It's the guy with long hair.
Who's Tony Gilroy's son?
Is that his son? I knew his son
It's
played
either
someone.
his
It's
son or his nephew.
I know no, there are two. I know his
Yeah,
son, I think, is in there, and his
they're the
like
two opposing dudes in the
yeah,
Maya
they
Pay Brigade. One's his son and one
I
is his
really liked
nephew.
both of them, by the way. I really did. I thought they were really good
They're
for
fucking
apparent Nepo
hilarious.
hires. Um it is a lot of action in those first three though.
Yeah, yeah. Like, so he's got to get free of the Maya Brigade. All the while, you've got Mon Mothma. My God, Mon Mothma.
Don't I can't say anything.
I'm an honorary Chandrillan wedding dress. You can't see that, nor should you. But I just want to let you know that I am. Um, I'm I'm trying to outdo Davos Skolden's Vanderpump Rules ass wife. Um,
Oh. I'm not allowed to talk about the women of the show. Not letting myself talk on the podcast about my feelings towards Mon Mothma and the wonderful Davos Skolden wife, who I love.
well,
I love them so
as a
much.
woman, I can, I
Yes, you
guess,
may.
but we won't, but we won't derail it too much. Like, I'll suffice to say, all the outfits are great, but we do have to talk about them in storytelling. But we'll get to that. Um, so we have action in the form of conversational dynamics at the wedding, and then we like take Homa coming undone, Davos Golden being the un well aware yet not aware agent of his undoing, um, the bizarreness of Chandrillan wedding customs.
I almost don't want to get into the wedding too much because
Yeah, no,
I
you're right. You're
would
right.
like to do maybe another episode on that plot at some point.
You're right. We might have to.
Um,
It might merit
I mean,
its
again,
own
the
whole
fact
thing.
that Tay Colma's actor is Thomas Cromwell,
That's
in
oh, you're right.
everything, not
Yes.
in the
Okay.
play. He's
Yeah.
one of my guys, so that hit me hard in a lot of ways. So let's not go beyond that on the wedding
Okay.
because it's
Okay.
just
That's fair.
there's so
And then
much.
we have this incredible finale sequence on Mina
I don't know the
Rao.
planet.
It's called Mina Rao, when the survivors of relatively speaking, of the Ferrex rebellion are hiding out. That includes Bix, Brasso, uh, B2 Emo, and Wilman.
Wilman Peak.
And we'll get, and he has more to do later. And so they get found out through an imperial census that is a pretty clear metaphor for uh, immigration politics, but it was, as Gilroy has said many times, and we don't need to rephrase it any more than just to say that he didn't write this with a newspaper in hand, and those issues have been a part of both American politics and world politics since time immemorial. So he, like, you can't say he's just basing it on the stuff that's going on now, but it's obviously going to evoke that.
Yeah.
He's no fool.
I would say the only
He
thing
knows
in
what
the
he's doing, but he's
six.
talking to a lot of stuff throughout history.
Yeah. I would say the only thing in the six episodes that's like on the nose of feeling ripped out of American culture is when our absolute, I don't know how to describe Krennic. I love Mendo so much in the role. But when he goes, oh, words do still have
Oh,
meaning, right? That is the most
I
out of
died.
that is
I
the most out of the
fucking
alt-right
died.
kind of
I was
bitchiness.
I I was watching that while cooking, literally, um, because I watch all these twice. So the first watch I don't necessarily, if it's not up to full picture standards, I don't always freak out. But like I had to watch that one on a time limit. I was cooking and I like almost like dropped a stirring spoon when
You
I heard
weren't
that
the
line
only one cooking. That's all I'll
because
say.
Ben Mendelsohn was.
Mendy, all of them.
He's
I
so
just
good.
he's having so much fun
Oh
with
my
his
God.
reads.
Yeah.
It's I mean he's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
But
we discussed him last time and I
only
love
to
him
keep
too.
us in the
Like,
time.
yep.
Go on, but just because we get limited on these, and I want to get to everyone being on
I
drugs.
know. I know.
Um,
Yes, so do I. So do I.
so
Trust me.
so the difference between the first three, really action packed, really kind of like this psychedelic rock and roll first
Yeah.
three, and these next three, because you brought up
Yes.
LeCarry, who
Yes,
is
I did.
I know a little LeCarry, I don't know as much as you, but I do
John
like
le Carre,
LeCarry.
the late great English Irish spy author, uh most famous for The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, um, and probably
Being
for
cool.
modern audience being awesome. Yeah. And A Most Wanted Man was fairly popular as a movie when it came out. I'm not sure how much interest that engendered in the book. I hope it did. It was definitely a critical hit, if nothing else, and it did okay because it had a great cast and it was pretty propulsive as far as the stories go. Anyway, what Le Carre does in his novels, which are about the minutia of espionage, which is meetings in both banal conference rooms, which Andor loves a banal conference room.
ISB scene's my
And
favorite.
yep, exactly. Yeah, those are all like the control scenes in as depicted in the Thomas Alfredson film of
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind
Tinker
of
Tailor.
vaguely, the color isn't the same, but it vaguely feels like it.
Yeah, no, there's no way Gilroy hasn't read
Oh, no
a
way.
lot
Yeah.
of this stuff.
Or Bo
And
Willimon is
Bo
like
Willimon
for all the
too. Yeah,
criticism
good
I'd
point.
give of House of Cards late, Bo Willimon knows his stuff and is good.
Yeah, no, he's a really he
He's a
is just
talent.
a good writer and is clearly influenced by spy and political fiction as well. Um, Le Carre excels at the minutia of dead drops, banal meetings, uh, like dark corners, like the slow seduction of someone to become a double agent who may at the same time already have been seduced by another force. So it's conflicting trying to get someone to be a triple or quadruple agent without their with parties
This
on multiple
Yeah.
levels unaware
The
of each other.
Cyril Karn special. Or wait, is it Cyril Karn?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm referring to. Yeah, with Cyril being obviously as Dedra's uh husband, who cares? Partner, whatever the fuck.
She doesn't.
She definitely, I mean, she does. I feel like she does have a certain
She
attachment to
does.
him, but it's immaterial what the specifics of it
Yeah,
are
it's a
because
psychopath's
yeah.
connection.
Oh God, no doubt. And so he's on Gorman as an agent of the Bureau of Imperial Bureau of Standards and allowing himself to be quote unquote like appear to be seduced by the Gorman front because they look like they're doing peaceful stuff and he's like saying all the right things which they are obviously listening to, not knowing that he is part of a very high level imperial plot to destabilize and ultimately destroy Gorman. Um, and so there's the dance between that. There's all the stuff with Clea, your girl.
I can't.
Um,
I'm
I
banned.
know, I
I'm
know.
banned.
I
I have a
well,
whiskey right now, so I'm banned from talking
I
about her.
I do too.
Yeah, but you're not banned. I am.
No, yeah.
I've put myself on the restricted list. Elizabeth Duelau is so good in this role though for season two.
He's wonderful. And so for this second run of episodes, it's a lot of mining suspense out of excruciating small moments that are like not whether a bomb does or doesn't go off, but whether two double agents, one being Clea, one being uh, Luthen's imperial spy, whose name escapes me, Lonnie, um,
Oh, my boy.
who's the subject of the wonderful season one speech
Yeah.
by Luthen about I've made my mind a sunless space. What do I sacrifice?
And
Calm,
who I
quiet, inner
have
peace, etc.
I have
The
a pet
drama
theory he's gonna set turn them in. I have a pet
you
theory. If there's no escape for him, I have a little pet theory that that's his only way out of this alive. But
it would make
it,
sense.
the last three
It
episodes didn't
would.
hurt or help that theory, but it's kind of if Luthen's gonna get burned by someone, it would be him. But go on.
Yeah. No, it
I
would
just
make
want to
sense.
put that out
And
there.
yeah. And the suspense is out of whether Clea and Lonnie can remove a planted listening device from an antique in Davos Skulden's gallery at his house in the middle of a party without anyone noticing while director Krennic is in the fucking room.
It's actually insane when you say it out like that, that they made a show where that's the climax of like
It
a
really is.
major
It
arc in the
is.
final season.
Yeah,
It's
it's
nuts.
cross cut with something that is more traditional action, which is action, excuse me, um, which is the Gorman front with the help of Vel and Cinta. They're back and they're together, and it's really beautiful for all of 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Um, and anyway, it's intercut with a more traditional, thrilling espionage movie type action sequence where they're robbing this transport.
But
I
even that one
think
is played,
they're
even that one
are they
is
robbing it or are they like setting tracking devices? It
they're
doesn't matter.
robbing it. But even
Okay, they're
that
robbing.
one
Yeah.
is it's kind of an Aldani Jr. But
Yes.
even that one
Yes.
is kind of played purposely quiet, right? Nothing explodes
Mm-hmm.
other
Yeah.
than the personal stakes because next week is when I expect the show to
Yeah.
go nuts.
It
But I do
doesn't
want to
go
have
off
us,
until a gun goes off by
yeah,
accident.
I want to have
And
us transition to our third point because we're on the
yes.
10-minute clock.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
And we got to have some fun here. So,
well, it's important.
and it is, well, it is both important and and amusing.
Saw
Um,
Gerrera hit the space vape.
yes. As we like, and this is something that goes back to Rogue One. The gas mask he's coming from. I mean, shades of fucking Frank Booth and Blue Velvet from there. Um, Pour one out for my beloved art father, David Lynch. Um, is in fact, we find out the source of this is he is inhaling the fumes of a very unstable fuel.
There is no explanation. I'm deep in Star, like, I'm pretty deep, and I guess they're deeper, like weirdos.
But I
But
don't care. Like, it's
for
fine.
someone
I get the
well
gist.
adjusted, I'm deep in Star Wars, and there's
Yeah.
no hand holding on this. I was
No,
like,
they just
is
throw
this
it at us.
real? I was like, is
Yeah.
this real? Is this a real element? I had to look it up
Yeah.
after.
And you're not
And it's
go
not. I'm not
yeah.
alone on that. But I love how little hand holding there was on that scene. But it's
Yeah.
also explained perfectly.
Yeah.
But oh my
He's getting
God,
high
Whitaker
off the fumes. Yeah,
of war.
Forrest
He's getting
fucking
high off
Whitaker.
the fumes of war. It's beautiful.
Well,
It's so
yes,
good.
yes. It's a very apt metaphor for that. Um, and he's doing so in a very literally volatile and metaphorically um way because he is an anarchist. Um,
We're
on
the
the other side of
rhino, we're the
things,
fuel, we are the thing that explodes when there's too much friction in the air.
oh
Oof, someone cooked
my
here.
God,
It's
someone cooked
peak.
here, and it was Bo Willeman.
It's
This
peak.
time.
It's insane. In fact, they keep doing this. I'm gonna say they keep doing this. I didn't even realize because the kid's name is Wilman Peak, and the show is
Oh,
Peak. I didn't even think of this. And then before they made the most Kino character on TV. And what did
oh,
they name him? They named him
they
Kino.
named him Kino Loy.
And now
Yeah.
they're making
Yep.
the most peak character, and they named him Peak. They keep doing it, folks. It keeps happening. He can't keep getting away with this.
But he
But he
will.
will.
He's too good.
He's too
And it's
good. He's
so
too good
great.
for our tricks. Um,
It's so good.
I mean,
On
watching
the
this is
It's just a joy.
my little tradition of stress relief Tuesday and Wednesday watching this show is so fun. I'm gonna miss it. I already know I'm gonna look back at it with a lot of nostalgia, even though my life's a
Yeah.
complete mess during this show
Yeah.
right now. But maybe not in the
Likewise.
worst way. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
that's everyone right now, and
yeah.
in life who cares about anything.
Yeah.
Or
On a more serious front and keeping with both our fading clock and
we have 6 minutes on the
everyone
board.
being on drugs, um, Bix
Yeah,
is using some form of space opiate to numb
called it
herself.
Space Benadryl.
I mean,
Sorry.
you did have to bring back the old brand, didn't you?
Yeah,
Um, it's whatever it is, literally, it's self-medication for PTSD from her time being tortured by the Imperial psychological warfare interrogator, Dr. Gorst. And which is interesting because she's not experiencing flashbacks to the extremely controversial event from episode 3 that we don't need to go into because every other fucking podcast
yeah. I
has.
didn't think it was controversial, but
Well,
I
no,
mean,
yeah,
for
no,
us, I
I
know
didn't
others
either.
have.
I
Yeah,
think
good.
it was
I
well
thought was
handled,
yeah. As someone who's
everything.
whatever.
What she can't escape is a different type because she extricated herself from that situation that we're not going to
Right.
bother getting into. Um, and that was why, and that was why that scene worked and wasn't gratuitous and wasn't any of the things that
Agreed.
scenes like that written by male writers often are. Um, what she can't shake is the psychological torture that she underwent for far longer and in more different circumstances. So she's using this opiate, and Cassian knows he's questioning her, and Luthen is definitely questioning her and
I've
implying that Cassian might have to cast her aside.
also very
And
interested that Luthen seems to have a history with it. Very interesting to me.
yeah,
That
it could be.
implication there
Yeah,
in the scene.
that's a good point.
And I do want to say
And
Stellan Skarsgård probably made the decision in that scene based on his interview to play that more empathetic, he was saying. And he was
yeah,
going off in the
yes,
post show. He was like, well, you can't be part of the revolution without empathy because the revolution is empathy. I'm like, Jesus Christ, these people are so cool. I really love them.
they're
Um,
it's such a fantastic
but yeah, I mean,
group
Bix's
of
issue is
storytellers.
kind
Yeah,
of that she can't do what Cassian does and just frankly murder people
compartmentalize
and
and
compartmentalize it
yeah,
until the end
yeah, until the end
when she can.
when we find out that the mission that Cassian argued with Luthen about bringing her on was to murder Dr. Gorst. And but not before subjecting him to the torture that he subjected her to, which is listening to the death throes of a race of alien children, as is
Yep.
described in season one. Um, and then on her way out, just casually shooting a guard, and then
One of the best stunts, by the way.
yeah,
The stuntman in that, a few people were saying that online. The stuntman goes so hard down. It's really well
oh yeah,
done.
no,
The
it
technical
looks
aspect of that is
yeah,
really good. It looks
yeah,
great.
yeah. He looks like he legit took a bullet or the equivalent
Yeah.
of a bullet, whatever. Um, and then for them to come out of the scene with fucking Diego Luna walking into frame, hitting beep on the detonator, and boom, the Empire's plan of this method of interrogation being a
Widespread thing is gone.
project
And
is at
now,
least temporarily stopped.
well, yeah, now they're going to have to use the crappy floaty droid that they use
Oh
on
yeah,
Leia in
that's
episode
what
four,
was
right? So
Leia.
it
That's a
actually
good point.
kind of does,
Yep,
they
yep.
kind of did have to make this move in terms of the wider Star Wars canon, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of why I don't feel like it's cheap at all. I don't think it would be
No,
anyway.
it's not. It's not.
But I think it is cool that kind of fits into the wider canon. We have 1 minute before we get cut off. I think the
Yep.
only thing we missed is like this kind of sexy masterclass that Diego Luna's doing, and I am
With
allowed
his
to talk
face,
about
yeah, it's beautiful.
Diego. I'm taking notes. Like I'm never gonna get onto this man's level, but I can at least take some
No,
notes.
no,
Um,
that's okay.
no,
That's
yeah,
okay.
but
No one will.
Diego, no one's done it. Oh my God, he's doing a master class with his face. Go on. I saved the last minute for you for Diego Luna's face.
Yes, it's beautiful. He, the torment that's gradually piling up like stones on his, like stones weighing on his eyes, is that we're going to see in that are going to add up to the husk we see at the beginning of Rogue One. Is just it's just crazy to think of what else is going to happen before we get there, and I think that's